Question number one. What are some things you have been called? A lot. Like, a bitch, a whore, a cunt, a skank, a slut, um, a piece of shit. I've been called a liar. I've been called, um, God, uh, uh, ridiculous things that I can't even um, repeat. Just ridiculous things like a thunder cunt, or I've been called a snobby piece of shit, or a white bitch, or stupid, dumb. Um, I've I've been called a Karen once, which blew my mind. Um, I've been called uneducated. I've been called worthless. I've been called deserving of harm. Um, I've been called awful things from people close to me, like my family, like my mother, my father. Most of those things they've actually called me. Um, yeah, undeserving of love. Um, I've been called a lot of things. I can't even think of them right now. Um, Question number two. What's the worst thing that ever happened to you that you want people to know about so they can understand you better? Um, I talked about this in my last video, and the worst thing that's ever happened to me was, so I spoke about how I was molested by my uncle as a child from the age of 7 to 12. We came out and told my family whenever I was 12 because my other sibling, um, who was younger than me, responded with similar things. So I came out and said, "Hey, yeah, this has happened to me as well. Okay, that's fine." I mean, it was fine. My parents are very sympathetic. They were very upset about it. And then later on, when I was about 17, because I tried to file a police report, my mother told me that I was a liar, or that I wanted these things to happen to me, or that I allowed him, or I asked him to do these things to me such a young age, and that I liked it, that I liked the things that happened to me, that I liked being molested. And that is the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. Um, I think that those words, I mean, they hurt in the moment, but they stuck with me. They still stick with me. That was traumatic, I have low self worth as it is, very low self worth. And like that just, it made all of my feelings justifiable. It made, oh, you're right. I am a piece of shit and I'm not worth living. I don't deserve to live. And not necessarily that it was true what she was saying, but like, yeah, I'm I'm awful and I should die. And that's a constant monologue in my brain since I was a child, and so it's hearing that about something that's so awful to happen to me, and being told that, like, really, really affected me. And I think that whole situation as a whole is where a lot of my mental health issues stem from. A lot of my depression, anxiety. I mean, there's chemical imbalances, but there's definitely a lot of factors in there that make it worse. Um, yeah, and that's a big part of why I am the way I am. And also, my parents were not the nicest of parents. They mentally and physically hurt me for years growing up, for years and years, and it's made me develop very poor coping mechanisms. They're also drug and alcohol abusers, hence why I've struggled with drug addiction over the years. I've still struggled with alcoholism. It's a constant battle. It's partially because it's what's hereditary at this point, and also partially because it's it's a poor coping mechanism. It's what's made it possible for me to continue. Not that that's okay, but I'm the way that I am because of my childhood, because of the traumatic experience that I've dealt with. Why is my identity and or my values political leverage? That's a very good question. Why do people in power have a right to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body? To tell me the right what I can and cannot do with my daughter? You know what I mean? Like if I get pregnant and I decide that it is not a safe situation for my child to be born, I have that right. Myself and the father have the right to say that, not some dude that I've never met in my life, or not a committee of people that I've never met in my life. Um, it's not their business. It's not their priority. It's for them. It's a game though. It's all chess pieces and it's all monetary. Um, Number 4, would you be friends with yourself? I think that I would. It's a hard one. Um, I think I would want to be friends with myself. I think I would want to be friends with the person that, um, the character that I put on, the persona, um, how I dress, how I talk, how I look, all those things. I would want to be friends with me. Doesn't mean that I would. Um, and I think that comes with the self worth. I think that I'm my worst critic, and a lot of times I think that I'm awful and horrible and disgusting and all these things. And so I wouldn't want to be friends with me. But I we're our worst enemy inside, and like I recognize that that's just an inner dialogue that I've created for myself, and that doesn't mean that I am those things, if that makes sense. Number 5, what does worth mean to you, and how do you measure a person's worthiness? Are they breathing? Are they a human being? They are worth something. They are worth something. Unless proven otherwise. I think that there are many people that have done awful things, especially people that have done things to children, that do not deserve to live and do not deserve to breathe. But that's more of a problem that they have in here. Initially, from the moment they are born, they are worth living. They are worth being treated with equality and respect. Something may happen during their life that changes their actions and behavior and becomes them unworthy. But if you are human, you are worth something. If you are breathing, you are worth something. How has 2020 challenged you? As I mentioned earlier, I lost my job. I lost my job. I lost the career that I've had for almost a decade now, bartending, and it was just poof gone with no fighting it, no questioning it. Um, it it really hurt my family for a little bit there. We persevered, and luckily unemployment came in, and luckily I have other skill sets. I am a seamstress, and I took advantage of the mask world on Etsy, and we've made plenty to support ourselves. But there are so many people in that industry that don't have any other skills, that were able that were just dicked around by unemployment this whole time. The EDD has dropped the ball and let down these citizens so much. It's impossible to get through to them. I was I had to reapply because my like term ended, and I had to reapply on July 4th. That's the last time that I got paid, or July 5th, sorry. The last time I got paid was July 5th. I reapplied, and every 2 weeks I put in my information and I certify, and I do everything properly. And if you look at my EDD page, it's pending, 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 pending. I haven't been paid a penny. And so in between that, about 4 weeks into it, I went and found a minimum wage job cooking because I had no other option. I couldn't feed my family anymore. You know what I mean? Like, And you can't call EDD. You call them and you have to wake up at like 7:30 in the morning and be one of the first like 100 to get through. It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. They have no way to like correspond through emails or through even these online chats that everybody seems to be doing. It's awful. It is like the people are out there starving and cannot pay their rent because you're not doing your job. And I get that they've been overwhelmed. Well, there's a lot of people looking for work, staff more. And that's just my blatant opinion. Like they have failed the American citizens. 7, has there been a time when learning new information changed your perception of someone? Didn't we do something like that in another one? Yeah, I spoke about this in another one about how um, learning things. Yeah, that was in the sorry, that question was in empathy. Yeah, it's if I learn that somebody has hurt children in any way, immediately changes my perception. Like, you are trash. I want nothing to do with you. I don't want you anywhere near me. I don't want you anywhere near anybody for that matter. Like, it fills me with such a fucking rage. Like, I get so angry when I find out that somebody has hurt a child. Um, I've learned that several of the people on my social media are Trump supporters or are anti Black Lives Matter, and they're gone. I do not I give them an opportunity to become educated about these situations, and if they refuse to, then I lose respect for them, and I don't want them involved in my life. Yeah, that's that's it.